what it is. Hi everyone, it's Sabrina. Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, you're family, so welcome back. And if you're new here, press that subscribe button and click the notification so you don't miss any more videos. So today, it's early January. This holiday's just passed. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. And I know that with holidays comes parties, and with parties comes food, right? And my favorite part of the party food is appetizer. So I wanted to share with you some of my favorite appetizers. In fact, not one, not two, but 4 of my favorite appetizers will be in this video. We're going to start off with a stunning centerpiece made of Christmas, well, I call it the Christmas bread centerpiece, but it's just made of pizza dough and pesto. We're going to move on to what some would call pigs in a blanket, but I have named this one mini sausages wrapped in a blanket, okay? Because of course this is a vegan channel, so we don't have any pigs here. So we're going to do sausages wrapped in a blanket. My third appetizer is going to be so simple. It's your cranberry meatballs. You can't get much quicker or easier than a cranberry meatball. And the last one is actually my favorite. We're going to make some dirty rice. And we're going to make that even easier by just using a box of Zatarans and some plant-based sausages, pop them together, and bam. Okay? Each of these appetizers will be easy, they will be quick, they will be beautiful, and of course, they're gonna be delicious. So I hope you're ready. Grab a pencil and paper if you want to take some notes, and let's jump in the kitchen.
So let's start with our beautiful Christmas tree centerpiece. I had made some dough a few weeks ago and froze it, and so I just thawed it out in the refrigerator. You can use fresh dough, you can use frozen dough, or store-bought dough, whichever is easiest for you. You're going to need 2 sections, one for the top and one for the bottom. So the first thing we're going to do is try to spread it out and just stretch it till you get a rectangle. In fact, you're going to need 2 rectangles, as I mentioned, one for the top and one for the bottom. Pizza dough is very forgiving. It will stretch really nicely. It'll go into whatever shape you can make it into. I am not a pizza aficionado, so I don't know how to flip it up and spread it around, but I know I can move it with my fingers. And so that's really what I did. I stretched it the best that I could, and then I laid it out on a piece of parchment paper. Know that wherever you put it is where it's going to stay till it cooks, so you want to be careful with where you're laying it. I found that once I tried to shape it by hand, it was a little easier after I laid it down to get it into the exact shape that I wanted. So here you're just going to see me pulling and tuck in. If you get any holes, that's fine. It's really going to bake itself right over and you won't see the holes a little later. And remember, this is the bottom part of your Christmas tree, or the first part that's on the parchment paper. Another piece will go right over top of it. So here's some pesto that I had made, and this is absolutely delicious. I will try to link that video somewhere. But this pesto was delicious. You can use any pesto you like, and you're just going to really just smear it on the entire surface of that bottom piece of dough. And this will add so much flavor. If you've made pesto or eaten pesto before, you know there's lots of garlic and depending on which herb you want. This one is a parsley pesto. That's sort of what I had. So, so it's absolutely delicious. And this is for the holidays, so green is perfect, right? So once you spread that out, you're going to go to the next piece of dough and you're going to make another rectangle because it's going to fit right over the top of the first one. So just use your fingers, just like you did the first one, and make the shape the best that you can and lay it right on top of the first one. Be careful as you spread it out because it does rip very easily, but as I showed you earlier, you can just fix that very, very quickly, okay? I would encourage you to try to press those edges because you are going to be cooking it and some pieces will come out. So with this, it is a little upside down on this side, but you are just going to cut out your tree. Okay, you're basically just making 2 cuts in this dough. If you do it really well, those 2 outside cuts should be able to go together to make another tree, but I tried a little something different in this video. But ultimately, you're going to cut that tree out and remove the sides of your dough. I put a lot of pesto in this one, so this next step could be a little difficult, but you do want to press the edges down so that all of your pesto filling does not come out when you are baking it. So that's really what I was trying to do. Press the top and press the bottom. The sides, we're going to get a little cute with the sides. So you don't necessarily need to press the sides just yet. Okay. Now this is my makeshift ruler that I put in the center, but you want to do that because you are going to be making equal cuts on the left and the right side. So really I just use that tongue as a guide for myself so that I don't cut through the entire tree. I just wanted to have some, rows of cuts. I ultimately went back in here with a knife and made it a little more clean, but this was a great way to get started, great way to see how much room I had. You can make as many slits, which will be twists, as you want. It depends on how gorgeous you want this tree to be or how many twists you want on the tree. So here I'm just going to go back and make sure I cut all the way through because my pizza cutter really didn't get through everything that I wanted. Ultimately, you do want to cut through the top layer, the pesto, and the bottom layer because after all 3 layers are cut, you're going to take each piece and twist it so that as it bakes, all that pesto goodness will bake up through the center pieces. Now, I know this might look a little confusing, but it really, really is simple once you make a couple of these. You're just going to take that bottom layer, shape it, put whatever kind of pesto you want, put the top layer on, cut it out, and then begin to make your tree limbs, which is what we're going to do right now. So you're just going to take one of the pieces that you cut and twist. You could probably twist 3 or 4 times. I think I twisted about 2 to 3 times. It really depends on how much room or how large you made your Christmas tree. Honestly, mine was a little narrow. I've made them larger in the past, but you can see that some of them twist really well and others do not. If you don't have too much pesto in the center of that, just you'll be able to press those edges down, on the very end. That way, all your pesto doesn't come out. But it's stunning when it comes out. So it really doesn't even matter. You cannot go wrong on this Christmas tree centerpiece here. As far as that center inside of that, like I said, I use pesto, but you can use anything you'd like as long as it has some color and wonderful flavors. And this is a pizza dough. You could use a croissant. You can use any kind of dough you want, because when you're done, you're just going to pull the pieces off and, as an appetizer. Now, the top of this, I just had some leftover parsley and I mixed it with some olive oil. And I'm going to brush that over top of this so that it browns up a little bit more, adds a little more color to my Christmas tree. And again, I love simple and delicious food, but it's got to be beautiful. And this one is a beautiful centerpiece. If you don't want to add oil, you can just get a non-dairy milk and brush it on there as well, and that will certainly help brown that up. But I want to get a little bit more glam on this one, so and a little more flavor. I believe I might have had a little pieces of garlic in there too. So some garlic and whatever herb you like, just brush that on there, slide it on a baking sheet, and pop it in the oven, and you cannot go wrong. I used my pizza sheet, and it worked out perfectly. Now remember those other 2 pieces we had. Depending on how you put them together, you should be able to get another triangle, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to try something a little different. So I was trying to figure out how can I slice these things up and use all that deliciousness in some way. And so I came up with just really pesto spirals or whatever you want to call them. It's really the same thing as the tree, but they're smaller. So I just cut them in small pieces, and you're going to see that I tried to get creative with those pieces, but I love dough and I love pesto, so I figured there was no way to go wrong on this recipe. So I chopped them up in little pieces, and then you will find that once I put it on the tray, I kind of grabbed some toothpicks and just started twisting and rolling and doing all kinds of things. Whatever I can get out of a piece is what I got out of the piece, because I was not trying to lose this little bit of, this deliciousness. So you'll just see me getting creative, and I really was trying, y'all, but you can do them however you'd like to do them. By using these extra pieces, I probably got another good dozen and a half out of the appetizer, and kind of made an entirely different appetizer with that. Some of them were spiral, some I just cut in half. I think some I even left flat, so it's really going to be up to you what you want to do with these. See, I had about 3 or 4 different kind. For these, instead of add the oil, I went in with my plant-based milk. I love almond milk, so I just put it right on the outside, and when it bakes, you'll see that it'll give it a nice little brown sheen to the top of it. Okay, so let's move on to our next appetizer. Sausages in a blanket. And are they not the most beautiful little pillows of beautifulness, right? And they're delicious too. I use croissants. I use some field roast maple and apple sausages to go with this. And this one really was so quick. Basically, you're just going to open up your croissants, take out one triangle, and wrap a piece of sausage in it. I would suggest, though, and I will do this the next time, I will take one triangle and cut it in half, because it really did almost take over the whole sausage. And I mean, they tasted wonderful, but you can really stretch this one a little bit more, you know, if you sort of cut those triangles in half and then wrap your sausages. Those field roast little things, they're the little, tiny little wieners, sort of like you can get it with meat, but I thought they came out wonderful. It really didn't take a lot of time to bake them up, but when they came out, they were smelling delicious, and they are the cutest little appetizers. So that was 2 appetizers done. Here's the final product of the Christmas tree. Isn't that beautiful? On to the 3rd appetizer. This one is so simple. It is your meatball and cranberry glazed meatballs. I use Wegmans, don't have a cow, meatless beef style meatballs. I had not used them before, but I have used their crumbles and thought this would be good. And your sauce is only 2 things, chili sauce and cranberry sauce. And you probably have at least one of those in your kitchen. Honestly, we're just gonna add the meatballs to the sauce and it's done. Melt the 2 down. And then over here, we're going to be making our dirty rice. So I'm kind of going to have 2 things going on at once, and it cooks up so quickly. Our dirty rice is going to be Zatarans, so all the seasonings and herbs are right in there. And then we're going to use a Beyond Meat, Beyond Sausage, which is delicious. And I'm going to have both of these cooking at the same time, so it won't take me long at all to get an awesome appetizer together. Let's get started with our meatballs, and then we'll move over to the sausages. So ultimately, we are just going to take 1 can of cranberry sauce. We're going to, and I use the kind without the whole cranberries. I like just the jellied kind. And just cut it down a little bit just so that it'll be a little easier to cook, and melt it. And then you're going to pour the chili sauce right over it. I know it looks nasty, but believe me, when this cooks down, you're going to have a little bit of the sweet with the tart, and together it is an absolutely fabulous sauce. I promise. Absolutely fabulous. So basically, we're going to put these right in the container. I'm just going to nuke them. They look pretty good. I don't know what they taste like, but we'll see. I've tried their crumbles before, so we'll see. We're going to nuke them and then pour the sauce, which is melting nicely, right over top. Appetizer done. Meat-based or non-meat-based meatballs tend to do. There you go. Done. Meatballs cooked in the microwave. Sauce on the stove. Pour it on the meatballs. Appetizer finished. That is beautiful. I don't do a lot of processed meat, but when I do, I'd like a good meatball. Let's move on to my favorite. And that's dirty rice. We're using the plant-based Beyond Meat sausages. You can use any kind that you want. I do like this. Now, some of these sausages will come with a casing, but you want to take that off. All you need to do is brown that up. It's already seasoned. The sausages are, and we already know that the Zataran is seasoned, so you don't have to do anything. Once you have it browned, you're going to open up the Zataran's pack, and you will pour in the seasonings and the rice. Sometimes the seasonings have little chunks in them, but you just chop that out and add 2.5 cups of water right to the pan. You're also going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you want to omit that, you certainly can. I think it's more for the flavor. Just a little bit of added fat, but it's really not much. And you want to bring that to a boil. It'll come up pretty quickly. Once you do, you pop your lid on, turn it down to a simmer, set your timer for 25 minutes, appetizer done. It is so delicious, so quick, and so hands-off. I just love this appetizer. I think I made it 3 times over the holiday season. So you have all these appetizers that look absolutely beautiful. They didn't take much time. They are stunning on the table. And I added a few different types of hummus and some chips. I had my centerpiece there. It was just an awesome party.
But I can see you doing it.
Stay blessed.